Hey guys, it's Dan, your host here, Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for Fear the Walking Dead. And in today's video, we're going to be looking back on Season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead and ranking all of the episodes from worst to best. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for Fear the Walking Dead. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another ranking video. We are now getting started with our Fear the Walking Dead rankings now that the show has officially come to an end. We are going to rank all 12 episodes of Season 8, the final season today. We're going to go through all the episodes from very shit to a pretty alright episode. I'm not even joking. This season is so bad. It's so damn stupid. And honestly, they're really lucky that it ended somewhat good. You know what I mean? Because this season is not enjoyable. And we're going to go into that a little bit more probably in another day or two, where we're going to go ahead and do another video where we rank all of the seasons from worst to best. And we'll go into more detail about Season 8 and our overall thoughts on the season. But just to generally say, I did not like this season. So this ranking all 12 of these episodes is not going to be easy. Because it's not like Season 3 of the show, where I actually have some episodes in Season 3 that are like straight up 10 out of 10 quality, you know? Season 8, I mean, even the best episode of this season, I think is like a 7. So, yeah, there's not good writing in this season. There really isn't good writing. But, yeah, you know, aging has definitely a factor here in some of these episodes. Where the plot goes, of course, has a factor in this. So certain episodes are going to be rated lower than they originally were because of where the story goes. That's just how it is, really. But without further ado, let's get into this ranking now. So, the worst episode of Fear Season 8. That is going to go to, at number 12, Season 8, Episode 11, Fighting Like You. Without a doubt, the worst episode of this final season. They butchered Troy. I mean, they butchered Troy so bad. And I don't understand the writing that was going on in this episode. They spend the whole episode trying to redeem him and give him a second chance just for Madison to kill him in front of his kid. Oh, wait a minute, it's not his kid. That's right. And then you find out that apparently the kid is belonging to Alicia, but then, oh, wait a minute, he died lying to Madison so that she would protect his kid. I think it's his kid. Who knows at this point? And the writing is so bad. The writing is so trash. They bring this Crane guy back, a guy that they spared for some unknown reason in Season 8, Episode 6. He comes back to attack them and randomly dies by a group of walkers. Like, what was the actual point of that return? Seriously. This episode has nothing going for it. They just have the same old. Madison kills Troy. And just none of the writing makes any sense. None of it makes any sense, and the writing was absolutely poor as all get out. Starting off now with number 11. Number 11 is going to go to episode 10, titled Keeping Her Alive. Just about as bad as episode 11. The only reason this one's a little bit better is because I like the winter environment. That's literally the only reason, because this episode is dumb as hell as well. You've got the battle with Troy that they just skip over. You have the whole episode about them looking for Alicia just to find out that it's actually Tracy's mother that they're discovering the whole time. You've got Victor Strand flip-flopping the whole episode. You've got Tracy that's annoying as all get out. I mean, this episode does not have any value to it at all. It really doesn't. And it's annoying, it's dumb. Oh, not to mention, 1 second you've got Luciana and them at a truck stop. Nice sunny, kind of, you know, slightly cold day outside, but it's, you know, no snow on the ground. Then randomly Madison and friggin', you know, Daniel walk up to this really frozen section with all this snow. Get the fuck out of here. Seriously, get the fuck out of here. Number 10 is going to be Season 8, Episode 5. This one is titled, dear God, what is the title of this one? More Time Than You Know. This episode was bad. This episode was really bad. It was basically trying to save somebody that already was slowly dying progressively, trying to treat her with radiation to stop a walker infection. That is literally the plot of this episode. And like I said, man, it's sad that Grace dies. I don't deny that. It's sad for Morgan. It's sad and all this stuff. But the fucking plot was so bad. You've got Shrike that makes a deal with Morgan for her to stop the friggin' walkers in the container or whatever. And she's like making side deals with him, but then she's shooting at him 2 seconds later. They want to kill Grace, then they don't want to kill Grace. They want to let Morgan get her to a safe place. Then Morgan, and this is when I had enough of this episode, Morgan leaves an 8-year-old little girl to drag a hurt Grace, a bit Grace, a weak Grace, all the way to the fucking train. Are you fucking serious right now? While he does what, you may ask? Fucks off in a boat and runs around yelling in the fucking woods. Like, there is no logic behind this episode at all. Not to mention, there's the dumbass scene where Shrike is standing there holding his axe, and Morgan's just like, Mo! And he just runs past her. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Seriously? What the fuck? Like, the writing was so trash, that episode. It was so bad. Coming in at number 9 is then going to be Season 8, Episode 3. This one is titled Odessa. This one is trash as well. The only thing I have a tiny compliment about the episode, I like Daniel's return. Everything else sucked. All right, I'm going to be honest. Padre's reveal with Crane, the death of their father, he's literally getting like torn apart by walkers, yet he's not screaming or yelling or anything. He's sitting there giving a fucking philosophical like type speech like, don't let this die, it's too important, as he's getting ripped apart, for fuck's sakes. Like, what the fuck kind of writing is this? Like, seriously. Warning, I'm probably going to be swearing a lot in this video, as I'm sure you can tell. But yeah, no, this is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I don't like it. It's a bad episode. Odessa is not a good character. Trashed. Absolutely trash. Trash, you know, backstory to Padre. Trash everything. It's so bad. I can't even believe this episode made it to TV. I really can't. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Season 8, Episode 7, Anton. Oh my god, what a dumbass episode. This one, like, you know, I know some people may say, like, oh, well, Troy appears at the very end, so this episode goes up a little bit. The fuck it does. They kill him off like a dumbass anyway. You know what I mean? Like, what does it matter, right? But here's the main reason I don't like this episode, aside from Troy. Because, like I said, his introduction scene, it has some moments to it. As I said in the review, I like it. Some of it, at least. But, you know, Victor Strand, he like grows out his hair, he's speaking German, he's got this random family, he's lying to everybody. They evidently kill Sarah and Wendell off screen in this episode as well. And it's just bad. It's bad. They reuse old footage to show Strand's new community, even though they're showing old footage of Teddy's old bunker. Like, it's fucking dumb. It's a dumb episode. It's cringe as all get out. You got Madison waking up, passing out every once in a while, too. It just, it doesn't work. It's not a good episode at all. I think it's a absolutely waste of time. Coming in at number 7 is going to be 801. Remember what they took from you. Now, this episode is slightly better than Anton, although I still don't like this episode too much. This is probably one of the worst aged episodes ever. I remember when I reviewed this. This is actually the one time I'll say I really go back on a review. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about, but this episode, look, it has moments. I do still say that. I think that, you know, there's some dynamics between Morgan and Madison that are all right, and I genuinely like the opening scene to this episode, I will say that, but pretty much everything else I don't like. Mo is annoying as all get out. Morgan wanting to take her back to Padre, and he's like a baby kidnapper, calling himself Nightingale with a fucking bandana on, for crying out loud. Look out, kids, he's coming! Like, you know, it's fucking stupid. And you've got, like, Grace that comes in there. She hears, like, the radio chatter. She conveniently comes in there. Who are you? I'm your mother. Fucking stupid as hell. Yeah, no, this is bad. And then Padre's just like, yeah, we are gonna kill Lark. You know, we don't have any purpose for her. And then at the end of the episode, we're like, you know what? We're gonna take Lark. Yeah, we're gonna take Madison. I'm like, okay, whatever, Padre. Seriously, whatever. Number 6 is then gonna go to 806. This one's titled All I See Is Red. Oh my god, man, this episode was dumb as well. The only reason why this makes it to number 6 is because Morgan is going to go find Rick. That scene, love it. Probably one of the best scenes of the whole fucking show. Straight up. It was great. I loved Morgan's exit. I loved what they did with that there. Everything else, aside from that, was terrible. They got red popping up on the screen every 2 seconds. Shitty way of telling a story. And they're cutting between scenes. Randomly, Madison's just laying face down in the fucking mud. Like, you know, and then you've got, like, Morgan that gets stabbed by Mo because he's fucking crazy. And then, like, you know, she carries, like, almost a 200-pound man all the way into a houseboat. Her little 8-year-old ass does that shit. Like, yeah, no. Fuck that. That is absolute nonsense right there. And then you've got like Troy Otto, who was played by a female for the post-credit scene, grabbing a friggin' hammer because Daniel Sharman couldn't come on set in time. Like, honestly, so dumb. And the final confrontation between Shrike and all them, not Crane because he survives apparently, but at least Shrike and her death and everything like that, it fucking sucked. It was terrible. Like, the only thing I like and the only reason it's at number 6 is because Morgan's gonna go find Rick. That's the only thing that we have here, like, at all, to be honest. All right, going into the top 5. Number 5 is going to be 809. This one is Sanctuary. Again, this is when we get into the episodes that are like just kind of like a mixed bag. And we're in the top 5. Holy shit, what a great season. Yeah, this right here, I mean, look, I like the concept of Dwight and Sherry going back to the Sanctuary. Do not get me wrong. But Dove ruined this fucking episode. Not only that, she was complaining the whole time, trying to take the bullet out, acting like an idiot, trashing on Dwight and Sherry's kid. So bad. You have these random bandits that took over the Sanctuary. Really bad. Also, the Sanctuary design is very off. I mean, look. Dwight's, room, some of the rooms inside the infirmary, the overall inside of the Sanctuary, I think they did a pretty good job, but everything outside of it, like, with, like, the blue buildings around the Sanctuary, and, like, you've got, like, like, the frickin', like, roof collapsing, and then, like, you see, like, the sky from up there. I'm like, guys, you guys not realize there was, like, 6 floors on top of that on the Sanctuary? Like, the design is off. It really is off in a lot of areas, and it took me out of the experience a lot. And not to mention Sherry and Dwight bickering, I just did not care for. They do way too much of that. Honestly, can you make them get along for once in this fucking show? Like, seriously. But yeah, no, to me, this episode, it had moments. It did. Dwight had some pretty cool scenes where he threw the guy in the fire, so, it wasn't all bad, but it was lackluster. It really was. It was really disappointing. Compared to what it should have been. Number 4 is then going to go to 802 Blue Jay. Now, I somehow have left this episode pretty high on the list this season. Mostly for the reason that this is not as dumb as the other episodes. Like, it's dumb at times, for sure. But there were moments in this episode that I genuinely like. June and her character, completely on her side. What she, what she thinks of Padre, what she does and all this stuff. I don't agree with the cutting off the fingers, though, at the same time. That's dumb. You should just kill the guards when you have the chance. Like, I don't understand the purpose of that. I really don't. And ultimately, it got her finger cut off, so the joke's on her, really. But I will say, I liked Dwight and Sherry in this episode. Them working with June. The guy, of course, that lost his daughter to Padre, he was, an alright character. It wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was alright. And, I genuinely liked the scene where their son gets bit. Now, mind you, I would have preferred if they just killed their son there, but, of course they gotta drag it out and then fake it out and then all this shit. But it was a savage scene for Dwight and Sherry and for their characters and all this stuff, The only thing I didn't like is that Padre's about saving kids, so what the fuck is Shrike doing getting him bit? Risking his life. Like, again, there's so much consistency issues. It's terrible. But, relatively quality-wise, and it goes to show you, it's a pretty flawed episode, but it's number 4. It is. And only because I like Dwight, Sherry. June was solid. I mean, not perfect, but she was solid. And the ending scene with Madison and Morgan, where Madison, buys Morgan some time with, the whole, I can't breathe thing, pull over type of thing, and then Morgan runs away. I like that scene. I actually genuinely like that scene. So, this episode, it's pretty fucking mid, but it's number 4. I'll give it that. It's definitely number 4. Terrible. Go show you the quality of the season. Number 3 is going to be King County. I was disappointed with this episode, too. I mean, this one's better than the one with Dwight and Sherry going back to the Sanctuary, if you ask me at least, because there are moments from this episode I genuinely like. The opening scene with Morgan where he has that breakdown in the middle of the street, love it. Thought that was great. The death of his son, putting down Dwayne, and the flashbacks throughout, the Rick mentions and all this shit, love that as well. Great stuff. Now for the shit I don't like. Shrike and Padre coming after them, interrupting the whole episode. Terrible, did not need it, ridiculous. Dwight and Sherry coming after Morgan was super annoying. Not to mention, and look, I understand, they're doing it for their kid. Because I know people are going to say they're doing it for their kid. Look, I understand, but you cannot tell me that there is any rhyme or reason why Dwight and Sherry would be alright with leaving Mo in a burning house. There is no fucking way. There is absolutely no way that Dwight would be fine with that. Like, burning a house with little Mo inside, and Dwight's just alright with that. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. And honestly, that was enough to take me out of a lot of the episode. But there was enough good there with Morgan putting his son down, with the introduction scene, with some of the flashbacks. They did a good job on it. So it's a pretty good episode, but there's some flaws in between. Padre in particular ruined this episode. It really did. But everything else was pretty good. You know, everything else was really good. The Morgan stuff, just on its own, I really liked. I'll say that. Number 2 is then going to go to the series finale, 8/12. The Road Ahead, this one's called. This episode, like I said, man, it's the most just middle ground, like pretty alright series finale I've ever seen. I think there's some dumb crap with like Tracy shooting Madison, you know, Madison holding Luciana at gunpoint. There's some really dumb crap. Madison sacrificing herself again. That was dumb. Tracy pulling Madison out of the rubble. Get the fuck out of here. You're a little kid. You're not doing that. You know, like, there's some dumb shit. But then on the other side of the conversation, you've got some really good dialogue from Daniel talking about the barber shop. The goodbye between Strand and Madison, I really enjoyed. I liked, you know, everything they did with the Battle of Padre. At least what we got of it, I really liked. You know, Dwight throwing Russell out to the crowd of the dead. Dwight leading the charge. I liked it. I thought it was good. And of course, Alicia's return. That is really what saved this episode. That was fantastic. And I really enjoyed it for what it was. I really did. I thought it was really good, you know. And I mean, you know, the ending of the show was pretty alright. You know, Daniel got his cat back and stuff. Whether or not you want to call it realistic or not is up to you. But, you know, I thought it was a pretty alright way to end it and stuff like that. It was pretty good. You know, it ended in a pretty good way, you know. But in my opinion, the best episode of Fear Season 8, the only episode that I'll sit here and say, for the most part, besides a few things here and there, was actually a pretty darn good episode. It's the one time I call an episode good this season, and that's going to be 808. This one's called Iron Tiger. Relatively a well-done episode. Troy was acting like Troy, referencing Nick, what he meant to him. Charlie, we got the stuff with her and Madison. They're, you know, kind of back and forth about Nick and what Charlie did. The conflict with Daniel. You can definitely understand why Madison doesn't like Charlie and why she would send her in there, but then it's too late. Troy catches up to her. Unfortunately, she takes her own life, which I thought was really sad. They did it in a really good way, and Charlie's death was well done. I liked it. I thought it was really good. And, you know, overall, I mean, you know, you had a lot of really good scenes. You know, the scene where Daniel confronts Madison at the end, I like that. It definitely made a lot of sense about his daughters and how now that's 2 daughters that he loses because of Madison's actions, you know? Like, there's some good writing. There is some really good writing in this episode. And I think it goes a little bit, you know, underappreciated, to be honest. It's not all great. You know, I think Madison's reaction to Nick was kind of fucking stupid. It was very lackluster, but pretty much everything else, like, I liked it. You know, I did. I relatively liked it. It was the one episode of this season that I you know, left the episode and I was like, all right, that wasn't too bad. That was pretty good, you know? It's the only episode I say that, but yeah, you know, there you go. So, yeah, in other words, y'all, this season is not great. It's not great at all. We will, of course, be doing the full 8 seasons, worst to best seasons ranking very soon, so stay tuned for that. But in terms of this one, I mean, yeah, there you go. It's, you know, it's not a great season, not some great episodes. The last 2, like series finale and 808, pretty solid, but like, that's it. That's all you got for me. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, guys, and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews on Instagram, guys. Click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos for Fear the Walking Dead. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos for the Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.